What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Becoming Me, Discovering You. I'm Quan, and today we're diving into a topic that's very personal and close to my heart, and that's how to start your self-discovery journey, especially if you're in a place of struggle and uncertainty. This is something I know all too well because my own journey began when I was at my lowest point in life. That was about 2 years ago. I didn't know what I was meant to do or be in this world, and I was struggling with depression. If you're feeling lost or unsure of your purpose, this episode is for you. So let's get into it. So first things first is recognizing you need to change. It's the hardest but most important step. Now for me, it started when I recognized or realized I wasn't happy and didn't know what impact I was meant to have on this world. I was depressed, unmotivated, and just didn't want to do anything. But really, that's where the journey begins, is when you acknowledge that something isn't right or something is wrong, and you decide to do something about it. Now, once you recognize that you need to change, the next step is finding a starting point. And for me, it was just making candles. I started creating candles as a way to relax, to bring like a peace of mind, to get out of that depressive state of not wanting to do anything, not wanting to be unmotivated. So candles was that way. Now, I wasn't an expert at all, so I had to go to what I call YouTube University. I went over to YouTube University and I learned a few things of the basics of how to make candles. And when I started learning the basics and just experiencing with it, it started to make me feel good. It's something that brought a light to the darkness that I was feeling. It brought a light. It just brought light to me. So for me, that was my starting point. And your starting point could be anything. It can be a hobby. You can put in a new routine into your life, or even just walk every day. Do something to get off that energy. You got to find a way to release that bad energy or that bad feeling of, to get into that process of where you wanting to change. So the key is just really finding something that connects to make you feel positive. You got to get that positive impact into your life. I also wanted to stress the importance of making sure you seek help when you need it. So I went to a therapy for a while, and I feel like it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. If you listen to my first episode, I did talk about that, of going to therapy and everything. So talking to someone, it could be a way to, it was a way to help me navigate my thoughts and emotions. And it was critical in my journey. It really was. I needed to let some things go, and she gave me the tools to be able to really let them go. Now, I haven't been to therapy in a while, and it's something that I really want to get back into. And that's just because having somebody, it is important to have somebody within your circle and within your circle that you can confide in, that you can talk to. But sometimes you don't want to be that person that's always unloading on them, because you got to realize like they got problems too. So why not find somebody that's licensed in this, that's able to take on the load and teach you how to carry that load on your own and take care of it. So I do want to go back to therapy for that reason. So it's good too if you're feeling lost. So don't hesitate to ever reach out to somebody for professional help. Therapy, counseling, or even talking to a trusted friend, it can make a huge difference. But again, with a friend, you got to know that line and that limit. For me personally, because I don't want to unload all my issues on somebody else that I know may have a lot of stuff going on with themselves as well. So making sure you find a good therapist and also having a good friend as well to keep that balance is a good way to help you on your journey of figuring out who the hell you are, what purpose God made you for, why did he create you. That's what my purpose is, and these is the reason I started with these steps, and wanting to really figure out who I am, wanting to figure out what impact Quan made to have on the world. And another big part of my journey is, as I just stated, my faith. So I am not going to say like, oh my God, I've been walking with Jesus my whole life. I have not. I've always trusted in God. I've always believed in God. But I haven't always, I said I always trusted in God. So I'm going to take that back. I've always believed in God. I always knew there was a God. Like, I knew that. But I semi-trusted in God because, and I say that because I never really gave him my problems and let him guide me through what I needed him to guide me through. I never allowed him to give me the strength that I needed. But until I really embraced that and embraced my relationship with God and understood that my relationship with God is not going to look like your relationship with God, or my mama's relationship with God, or my friend's relationship with God. And when I started to really understand that, that's when things that I thought was tough really helped. I really was able to get through it because I knew that, okay, I can trust him. I can believe in him. I can give him this. He's going to be able to help me. He's going to be able to guide me through this. So I was able to that was really a good understanding moment for me. And also journaling was another way that I went through this process of going through this process of trying to figure out who I am. Writing down my thoughts. I've been saying this. Writing down my thoughts is a great way for me to express myself. It helps me get my words together for to say. I write down all my prayers as well. That also helps me process my thoughts, my feelings, and how I want to get things, what I want to get to God across to him. I feel I can get it better in writing versus just talking or, praying to him. So it doesn't have to be a everyday thing when you're doing like a journal or journaling. You can. It helps if you do set aside that time where you have that self-care process in your day where, okay, in this time I'm going to journal about how my day went, or even about if you take a day out of the week, the end of the week, you take and you write down how you made it through this week, what obstacles you overcame, what you realized about yourself. That does help. But also throughout those days, it's good to even just jot down thoughts. I find that when I'm having a bad day, and I'm having a bad day at that moment, I don't want to wait till the end of the week to talk about that bad moment because I need to deal with that bad moment right then. So I found that just jotting down little things, the motivational, quotes and stuff like that, that puts me back into a positive state, and that helps me get to a point where I can be like, okay, let's figure out a solution to this problem or whatever made me feel however I was feeling, whatever that issue was, that put me back into a positive mindset so I can figure out how to not go back to having a bad day for this issue or whatever. And really one of the most important things that I've learned on this journey is the importance of making adjustments. And as you go, life doesn't always go as according to plan. If you listen to my episode of God's timing versus our timing, I really hit more on that. But just because we have it written out, just because it's on our vision board and that's what we see for ourselves and that's what we want for ourselves, does not mean that's how it's going to go. It does not mean that. So my biggest step in life and in this journey of self-discovery is making those adjustments, is being okay with my plan not going according to my plan. You know what I mean? So that has been the biggest thing for me that I've had to adjust, is being like, okay, things may not go that way, so I need to figure out how I'm gonna respond better to those challenges. And I need to take that time back, the necessary adjustments that I need to move forward, to continue in the right direction that I want to go in. Now, I do want y'all to remember, it's not about having everything figured out, because you're never going to know everything, because guess what, we're not in control. As much as we want to be in control, and as much as we want everything to go according to plan, it's not going to happen, because God will show you. You make a plan, God will make a fool out of you. So I've been there, I've seen it, and I'm still learning, because sometimes I catch myself, trying to step in the way, like, oh, I can make it happen faster, but in reality, I can't. So it does not always have to be that I have it figured out. It's 100%. I know this is what my future gonna look like. It doesn't. It's about making progress. It's about making the small steps, even if I don't care how small they are, just because you're making those steps. Like for me, for instance, my biggest thing is I do want my podcast to be one of the best podcasts there is out there. I do want to be that. With my candles, I do want my candles to be the best candles that I've ever made. And for me to be able to get that and achieve that, I know I do need to include God into that process, because I want my podcast to continue to be encouraging to women. So for me to do that, I have to include God in that. For me, that's how I feel. Before every episode I record, I make sure I pray and ask God to give me the words to say to encourage you, or anybody that's listening. I want to be able to encourage. And that's the same thing with my candles. My candles, I started it, as I said earlier, I started it as a way to make me relax, a way of peace, to have a peace of mind. And it still gives me a peace of mind. But because I am selling them, and I do want to sell them, I also have an online boutique that I sell my candles in. I have a lot more stuff for my boutique that I'm working on now behind the scenes. I'm getting my website back up. I'm trying to integrate more stuff with that. So my boutique part, as far as what I'm going to be selling, isn't quite there yet. But as far as my candles are, I know how to make a candle, but I do want to do something different. So I'm rebranding my candles. They're not just candles that can make your house smell good. I want it to set a vibe. When you light my candles in your house, it's going to give you, light my candles in your house and turn on one of my podcast episodes. You're going to be like, I'm on the best journey of self-discovery ever. That's the vibe I want you to feel when you listen to me, and also when you smell my candles. So that also brings peace. So with me being on this journey of self-discovery, it really has started me, as I said at the beginning, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't know how to make myself happy with what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So with making my candles, when I found that, I was like, okay, this is what happiness feels like when when you're doing work. Because making candles is fun, but it's a lot of work too. Like, it's math. You gotta do measurements. I gotta convert ounces to grams. I gotta weigh up, make sure how much fragrance go into this candle vessel for this size. So it's a little bit of math. I like to do math too, but it's a little bit of that. So it's work to make a candle. And it wasn't, when I do it, it's work, but it doesn't feel like work, if that makes sense. So that's why I really enjoy making candles. And also, same thing with my podcast. It's a lot of work. I look at how many times I record, each time trying to get the episode just right for y'all. So when I post it, it's perfect for y'all. But that episode that y'all listen to, trust me, it took maybe like 4 or 5 hours for y'all to get 20, 30 minutes of an episode. But it doesn't feel like work when I'm doing it. I don't get frustrated because I have to keep starting over. It's fun to me. And that's how I'm learning. Like, that's how I know that this is my passion, being able to encourage others and empower others. And I want my candles to do the same thing. I want to be able to find a way to get my candles to be able to set the mood. When you go home, you leave the world outside, because I want your home, to me, I feel like, should be the most peaceful place on earth is your home. So, and I want my candles to be a part of your peace for that. And I want it to bring peace and relaxation when you light a candle. But that really is how I started my self-discovery journey. And it's really just starting, making that acknowledgement that something has to change, something needs to change. I need to figure out what needs to change. Taking on that tone of reflecting who you are, what you enjoy. That's really how self-discovery starts. There's no real outline of how to start it. How I started mine may not look like how you start yours, but what's going to look the same is that we both started. So I am going to go ahead and close out today's episode there. I do hope y'all enjoyed it. But yeah, make sure y'all just start the journey one step at a time. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Becoming Me, Discovering You. If you're at a point where you're not sure where to start, know that you're not alone. We've all been there, and it's okay to take things one step at a time. Start small, seek help when needed, lean on faith or whatever gives you strength. And remember that every experience, no matter how difficult, is shaping you to be the person you're meant to be. So keep moving forward, make those adjustments, and trust the process. Now, I would love to hear about how your self-discovery journey is going. So leave a comment below or head over to my Instagram at becomingme_discovering you and let me know. Until next time, have a great day.